Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody, too.
Good morning once again, everyone. You're welcome to the Energy Leaders Dialogue. If you're here, can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning to you.
Hello. Can everyone hear me, please? You can hear me, just say something.
Good morning, sir. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly from here. Thank you.
Good morning. I can also hear you.
Okay. So once again, welcome everyone to the Energy Leaders Dialogue. It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you join us today. Today it's an opportunity for us to first learn about the career opportunities in the renewable energy industry, and aside that, to also learn about how to be a successful renewable energy professional. But before we start, I'd like to welcome some people in our midst. I'd like to recognize the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance. They are the major sponsor for this event. Is anyone from the Alliance there? Can you say hi, please?
Yes, please. I am from the Alliance.
Hello as well,
Hello.
the Alliance.
Yeah. From the Alliance.
Yes,
that is Dr. Uzodima, the member of the steering committee of the Alliance.
Hold on, please. Let me just see. Hold on. I
Can you hear
think
us?
Hello. Is there anything one can do for you? Our
Okay,
CDO, Kemi has already spoken.
Really?
My hand is up.
I can hear clearly now. It's better from my end.
Okay.
Okay.
Kemi, over to you,
Good
please.
morning. Okay, good morning, Dr. Uzodima. You're welcome.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Also, I'd like to welcome our panelists. First, I'd like to welcome Ms. Shalom Shebrah, the head HR at GV Projects Limited. Hi, hi there.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
You're welcome. Also, I'd like to welcome Ms. Alice.
Good morning.
Okay, I'd like to also welcome Ms. Alice Adedayo. Okay, so there was an error in her name. It's not Adebayo, it's Adedayo. So it's from our side. So, hi, Ms. Alice, are you there?
Hello, good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll be here this morning to, like I said earlier, to learn about the renewable energy industry. But before then, I'd like to just share some few things about energy intelligence. So energy intelligence was founded in 2020 with the sole aim of projecting the pathways to Africa's future. We found that fossil fuel industry, so there was virtually no media industry platform, pushing the not the energy poverty narrative, but the solutions narrative for the renewable energy platform industry. So that's why we founded Energy Intelligence. And over the last 3 years, we've done this through events like this. We've also done this through interviews. We've done this through YouTube live sessions, which is focused on climate change, on renewable energy, on career opportunities for young people in the industry. Aside that too, another thing we've tried to do in the last 3 years is that we've partnered with organizations that are reputable in the industry. we are doing this because we don't want to act in silos. We believe that partnerships is very important on the journey to a sustainable energy future. So that's why we're partnering with the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Associations Alliance today to bring this opportunity. But before I go further, I also like to recognize the representative of the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, Mr. Abba Ali. Is he here, Mr. Ali? Are you here? Okay. Okay, so while we wait for him, I'd like to once again welcome every one of us to this event. Like I said earlier on the WhatsApp group, if you are not there, the link to the group will be shared in the chat. One thing we'll try to do is to make sure that any question you have, you could just drop it on the WhatsApp group or also on the Zoom chat. And then each of the panelists, any of the panelists is going to answer. Then another that we are representatives of the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance here, who have introduced earlier. So if there are any questions you particularly want to ask them about the industry, I think this would be an opportunity for you to ask them. So, but before I go further, I'd like to invite someone from the Alliance to give us a short brief about the Alliance and how important it is, its job is in Nigeria's journey to a sustainable energy future. Over to you.
Officer for the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association, so we also call the Alliance. The Alliance is an umbrella body of member associations in the renewable energy space. Were established as an umbrella body with the support of the Nigerian Energy Support Program, NESP, which is a technical assistance program co-funded by the European Union and the German government, implemented by GIZ in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Power, which aims at enabling and fostering investments in the domestic markets for renewable energy and energy efficiency, and at improving access to electricity in disadvantaged and mostly rural areas in Nigeria. Besides the NESP, we also support the Chamber and Associations Partnership Program, which is financed by the Federal German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. Under this partnership program, the German Solar Industry Association, called BSW Solar, which is based in Berlin, supports our alliance to develop into a strong, independent, and sustainable organization. So part of our objectives include coordinating the activities of renewable energy and energy efficiency associations in Nigeria. We promote, stimulate, and advocate for the practice of renewable energy and energy efficiency. We collaborate and act as a channel of interaction with government, donor organizations, NGOs, etc. And then we have founding members of the Alliance, which include the Association of Energy Engineers of Nigeria, Council of Renewable Energy in Nigeria, CREN, now known as CREN Star. We have Renewable and Alternative Energy Society of Nigeria, called RAISON. We have the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, called RIAN. We have the Sustainable Energy Practitioners Association of Nigeria, SEPAN. We have the Solar Energy Society of Nigeria, SESN. And last but not least, we have Women in Renewable Energy Association, called WIRE. So we are an umbrella body of member associations, and we encourage anyone who wants to be a partner of the Alliance to join any one of the associations that are called out right now. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Over to you, Ayobami.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kemi. Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Kemi, for the short brief about the Alliance. So it will be an opportunity for anyone who is on this platform now to make use of this opportunity to learn more about the Alliance. So the links to the Alliance will be dropped on the chats. so that anyone who is interested could learn more about you, and then also try to leverage on the opportunities that are involved. All right, so thank you so much. Once again, I'd like to know if Mr. Aliyu is here now.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, so Mr. Aliyu, Mr. Aliyu is the head of project monitoring unit at the Nigeria Electrification Project. He'll be representing the MD of the Rural Electrification Agency here to give a keynote speech. Mr. Aliyu, are you ready?
Yes, we have just a very brief presentation that I would like to share.
Okay. Please go ahead. Hello, Mr. Aliyu.
Yes, sharing. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you. Being introduced, my name is Aliyu. I'm representing the MDR Electrification Agency, and because of how important MDC is this particular feel that it's important to make a presentation rather than just to come and read a keynote address, but let's make a presentation so that there's a content that participants can take and make use of. So I would like to quickly take us through this. The aim, in essence, it's nothing more than highlighting what are the key initiatives that the Rural Electrification Agency doing in that area within the renewable energy space. So as just a form of background, just statistics that is very known, and the essence of all these statistics to show you how critical the role of renewable energy it is in the country. We account over 200 million with a wide electricity, and that is enough to show how the role of renewable energy in addressing this gap. So all these are statistics that we already know. Now, from the federal government perspective, there are a number of key things that the federal government is doing to address this gap. Key among them is the one that I will speak of, which is the Nigerian Electrification Program. And this is a federal government initiative that has funding of 100 million from African Development, 150 million from World Bank. And the essence is to the objective. The objective is to supply 705 9,000 SMEs and 100 isolation and treatment centers, healthcare, and as well as covering 15 federal institutions, including teaching hospitals. Now, the number of electricity within different components, or within REA, there are a number of different components or intervention that's been done. Apart from the NEP that I spoke about, under NEP, we have the Energizing Nutrition Program, which is a component under NEP. There's the Solar Power Niger, which is also being driven by REA. And we have the REF Fund, which is a statutory program as provided in the Shebrah Act. All these are programs and are provided some context in terms of what are they, what they're doing, and the fundings available for that. There are other initiatives which includes like the energizing economies, which is also an initiative of the Rural Electrification Agency, providing small and medium enterprises with access and economic, helping their access and economic growth. We have the energizing agriculture, we have the Africa Mini Grids program, and we have the risking sustainable off-grid lighting system. So all these are initiatives that I provided some context that all participants are encouraged to read through, get to know what they are and the opportunities that are out there. As regards to NEP, which is one of the most successful programs that is being run in the country and driven by REA, so far we have completed the 75 mini grids, the total PV capacity of about 58.8 megawatts has been developed. 337 grant agreements by being signed, and 258 communities sensitized across the countries after working with developers. 455 have applied, out of which we signed agreement with 337 outstanding. Still working with the different outstanding developers to also reach to a level that they will sign the agreement. Then we have a deal pipeline of about 200 and almost 150,000 completed containerized as solution have all been deployed. This is
Mr. Ali.
Yes.
I think we're having issues with your audio.
Oh, okay. But is it clear now?
Yeah, it's there, but I think it's freezing, but you can go ahead.
Okay. So this is a typical example of some of the initiatives. So within the components, we try as much as possible to bring some creative initiatives that would create sustainability, economic bankability of our mini grids renewable project. Typical of it is a program that we call productive use of equipment, which is a component under the African Development Bank project. So this is just a typical example of how that program is all about, which I will explain as we go further. Now, to us, we see a lot of values, a lot of opportunities within the mini grid career opportunities, because we work from the beginning to the end, the entire value chain, and that makes us to now see so many opportunities that individual can build, can develop career in the renewable space. Some of these opportunities are not known, and we categorize these opportunities into different components. So the energy opportunities, agricultural opportunities, construction and manufacturing opportunity, even transportation opportunity, policy aspect, in the research aspect, there's consulting aspect of it. And this, if you look at how we developed our projects, so there are aspects of project development which should some level of environmental consultancy, project design, engineering design, social engagement, stakeholder engagement. All these are key opportunities that the renewable space creates, and they are areas, different thematic areas that individuals can venture into it and build a career out of it. So when you move from the project development space and move to the project development space, that now create another different area of development for individual. And in that regard, you will now be thinking of the construction, the supervision, the aspect of operation and maintenance and stuff like that. But beyond that, also there are areas, there are other opportunities to do with financial closure, aspect of the managing the grid, and this also creates another indirect opportunities that may not likely be directly linked to the renewable project, which are the indirect opportunities created This involves commercial operation, commerce, buying and selling of stuff as a result of the grids that have been developed. From our point of view, based on the projects that we are looking at it, we have developed, like I mentioned earlier, 150 mini grids. There are aspects of the productive use of equipment, which as a result of a mini grid, and for us to make the mini grid sustainable, we try to ensure that some economic activities are created so that it creates optimal utilization of mini grids, and at the same time creates job opportunities for it. So there are aspects of mini grids where even a number of key companies come where we are building mini grids and start selling productive equipment like rice milling, like grinding machine and stuff like that. So that creates a business opportunities from the commercial aspect of it. And it is as a result of that mini grid project that things are there. So in all our thinking, this grid creates that holistic opportunity, because the company that is selling the productive equipment wouldn't have had the opportunity to sell to the communities without the existence of the mini grid. So these are things that are there. And in all the things that we are working, in all the project areas working within this, works with a number of key stakeholders, and these are parts of the stakeholders that we're working with: World Bank, Africa Development Bank, an IT company, or DESI, that is an IT company that helps to provide a transparent system of engaging developers and at the same time procuring EPCs for the kind of work that we do. Energy, the companies, developers, the financiers, the ONE, we all create and engage with them, and thus all created opportunities. Small and medium enterprises, cooperative society, and other things as shown in this slide. Another thing also that we have noticed in the work that we are doing is also the aspect of even developing capacity along the project development, which helps to equip individuals with capacity and technical knowledge and experience.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your audio is coming very down. Then another thing is that because of our time, can you please move faster?
Yes, that's fine. So we have the
All right, thank you.
the STEM, which is science, technical, and engineering, mathematics components that we train specifically females in this aspect for them to build career along the way. So I have enumerated all the various programs that help to build development. As for the in the course of our work, and this is a tutorial of all the projects that we have developed, which include the use of equipment. Thank you very much for this opportunity for engagement very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Aliyu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So one of the things I got from your presentation is the fact that there are so many opportunities, in the sector, but those opportunities are not known. Okay, so thank you so much for this. I really appreciate. And then some of those opportunities are what we are also going to be discussing in a few minutes. All right. Okay, so Mr. Aliyu, thank you once again for this presentation. I really appreciate it. I believe the panelists the audience have learned a thing or two about some of the opportunities that are in the sector, and they are going to plug into it. Okay, so now we move to the our panel session. But before we move to our panel section, I'll let everyone know that you can just drop your questions the one meant for Mr. Aliu or Zoom chat room, or also on the one, either one, it's fine. Okay, so HR personnel, who channels a wealth of knowledge into building successful HR teams. One of the places she has worked is that she has managed several HR functions on various projects for Total E&P Nigeria Limited, now Total Energies. Currently, she's the head of HR and corporate services at GVE. GVE is one of the largest renewable energy companies in Nigeria. So she's coming on board with this vast experience, to share with us what renewable energy companies are looking for in applicants, so that the issue of submitting applications without success, it will come to an end today. Ms. Shebrah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ayobami. It's good to have everyone here.
All right. So the next person I'm going to be introducing to us is Miss Alice Adedayo. So Miss Adedayo is an energy professional actively engaged in improving energy access in Africa. She has consulted on several projects, such as the one for Palladium Group, Green Focus, and which is an agri-finance project with the GIZ. She's a certified telecommunication power systems engineer and solar energy systems engineer. She's a member of the Energy Institute, the Council of Renewable Energy Nigeria, and an alumnus of the UK Royal Academy of Engineering's Graduate Engineering Training Scheme. So what Ms. Adedayo is going to be sharing with us today is her experience in the renewable energy industry. What are also some of the important skills and qualifications, for someone interested in pursuing a career in the renewable energy field. So that those are some of the things Ms. Adedayo is going to be sharing with us today. You're welcome, Ms. Adedayo.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction, Ayobami. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. So unfortunately, Ms. Adedayo won't be able to share a video. So we move into the panel session. So like I said earlier to the audience, if you have questions, you can just drop them at the chat room or drop them on the WhatsApp group. Once again, this event is sponsored by the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance, with representatives also on this platform. So first, my question to you, Shalom. My first question is this. We've had Mr. Aliu speak about some of the opportunities that are in the renewable energy industry. Okay, so I'd like you to take it from that place. What are some of the current opportunities, job opportunities in the renewable energy field?
Thank you very much for the question. Whilst listening to Mr. Aliu's presentation, I was quite wowed at the several opportunities being made known to everyone. In order not to waste so much time, I think I'll just respond. So for the current job opportunities in the renewable energy sector, we could look at the aspect of renewable equipment sales and marketing. That has got to do with the sales of equipment such as PV modules, popularly known as solar panels, batteries, inverters, fridges, cooking pots, as the case may be. I believe most of us here are conversant with such equipment. We also have the aspect of renewable equipment manufacturing and assembly. It's got to do with those who perhaps are financially buoyant to sponsor the production of or manufacturing of equipment needed in the industry, and as well push for the importation of these equipment into various parts of the country or globe, as the case may be. It's a way of making a living, and these are all opportunities. We also have the aspect of equipment repairs and manufacturing. And these will be with those who have been able to study the defective aspects of equipment and go on to repair. And under the aspect of manufacturing, that would be based on the fact that the original equipment manufacturers would always advise on how the equipment have to be maintained. Okay, so you have people also making a living out of it. Now, one can't conclude on this without mentioning the aspect of training and consultancy. This has to do with people who have devoted their time to study or understudy these equipments and as well as the sector, because no matter how much you want the products to be out there, you need people who would have devoted time, you know, to be able to groom the younger ones, to be able to maintain these facilities. And it doesn't only cover the aspect of engineering. There are different roles under training and consultancy. You would have the financials, you would have the aspect of managing people, human resources, you would have the aspect of marketing. So these are all aspects of under training and consultancy that are job opportunities out there for people in the renewable energy sector. Not to forget the aspect of financiers and investors who also invest money into huge projects and also make profits out of it. These are all current fields in the renewable energy industry, okay, in form of opportunities where one can make a living out of it. What comes to mind under the aspect of upcoming job opportunities? I would say that there's going to be a lot of blooming opportunities, because I see a shift where the renewable energy sector will be complementing the national grids, okay, and then there's going to be a lot of influx of investors, and this can only happen when there is stability, and stability has to do with power, it has to do with accessibility, and so many others. And in the past, we've had the fossil fuels causing a lot of hazards. Okay, once we are able to mitigate this aspect and have an influx of investors, of course, there are going to be several job opportunities, and such as maybe software developers. Not that we do not currently have them, but there's going to be much more need for these aspect of careers, or people pursuing such careers in the renewable energy industry. These are several current opportunities and upcoming opportunities as well. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much for that. Now, you've spoken of the opportunities in the field. Okay, for instance, I'm a person with a political science background. So someone like me, do I have a future in the renewable energy space? Or let me reframe my question better. You know, what types of education, you know, and experience are needed for a career in the space, in the renewable energy space?
Well, the sector is so broad and has similar parameters as every other industry. To further answer this, I would want to liken this question to myself. I had my work background from the oil and gas industry. Whilst I was there, as you said during the introductions, I managed several HR functions, and I was dealing with people with positions such as HSE superintendents, subsea engineers, electrical engineers, mod engineers, and several others. As at today, I have been able to transition into the renewable sector, working with GV Projects Limited. What am I doing here as GV? I'm still managing people, electrical engineers, field engineers, technicians, civil engineers, accountants, and several others. What has really changed? Really, nothing has changed. I'm still managing people. It's about being able to remodel your knowledge to fit into the sector. Of course, there are courses and trainings that would help broaden your ideas or that spectrum of knowledge. However, it's about the basic knowledge you need to be able to fit into the industry. Mind you, and I believe you would all agree with me, on its own is an embodiment of knowledge. Okay, you need the basics. Remodel your knowledge, follow up with the current trends, make yourself a lifelong learner, because it's the renewable energy sector is such that there's always room for reskilling and upskilling. And so you really have no hindrance, or there's nothing taking you aback from not being able to fit in. Just to close on this, it's like having an accountant from the manufacturing industry, and then he transitions into the renewable energy sector. Because he transitioned, does it mean he's going to be joining wires? Of course not. He's dealing with figures. He's dealing with his balance sheets and all that. So it's just one being able to remodel their knowledge, make themselves conversant with the trends, and then fit into the job role. I hope this answers the question as well.
Yeah, it does really. From what I got to your point, flexibility is very important when coming into the renewable energy sector. So whatever sector you might be coming from, there's a role for you in the renewable energy space. Thank you so much for that. So I move to our second panelist, which is Alice Adedayo. Hello, Alice, are you there?
Yes, please, I'm with you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, so, okay, great. I want to move to you now. Okay. Shalom has spoken about some of the opportunities in the industry. So I want to know, what motivated you? Did you also know about these opportunities before you came into the industry? What inspired you to pursue a career in the sector? And then what do you find most rewarding about your work, in less than 2 minutes?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that question. For me, what inspired me, I'll share a quick story about myself. I grew up in northern Nigeria, Kaduna to be precise. And back then in the years, I had limited, or let me say, no access to electricity. And then I was curious. I learned about some countries abroad where they have access to 24 hours electricity. So I wanted to know more. So I have a first degree in physics. I studied in Usman University. And so I began to learn about energy systems and how electricity can actually be provided. Yes, and solar energy, bioenergy, and also I would say the curiosity. And to add to what Shalom had said, I would also like to say that renewable energy is not just limited to solar energy. Yes, solar energy is very popular. And for me, productive use of energy is very, very important. So I wanted to see the way where youths can actually make money, because it's not just enough to know about renewable energy, but you have to be able to make money from it. So that is one of the things that inspired me. And one thing that's rewarding is that you get to meet a lot of people. Early in my career, I started about 7 years ago. I was privileged to meet with Dr. Shebrah, Adedayo, who was the former president of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. And he held my hands through in the industry. And I would say that mentorship have actually created a pathway for me in the industry. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Alice. That was really inspiring, and that's the role of mentorship. Okay, so Shalom, I'd like to move back to you. Still speaking on the issue of candidates with a different background. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a background in political science and international relations, and I want to come into the renewable energy space. I want to know, how does the industry view candidates, with a different background? I don't have a physics background like Alice does. I have no science background, okay? But I want to come into the industry. How does the industry view people like me, who are interested in coming into the industry?
Thank you, Ayobami. Again, I would say the industry is vast and has different facets. Just as Alice mentioned, okay, it's not just limited to a particular field of study. And so people with different backgrounds or diverse experience always have an opportunity in the industry. Perhaps you could look at it from two different angles. Those who are more science inclined, who may have studied courses such as electrical engineering, electrical design, physics, just as Alice, and then maybe chemistry, to mention but a few, would fit into the engineering aspects of the job or of the industry. And then you have people who have solid backgrounds in diverse fields as well. So they could fit into roles as marketing, financial analysts, human resources, content writers, and several others. Even people who studied political science as yourself would fit into an aspect. You could be reporting on the political side of like journalism, okay? You just have a sector or a function or a role where you are assigned to report on a particular field. So it is in the renewable energy industry. Having said this, there may be some other people who may not have been opportune to have this form of tertiary education based on the roles I have called. They would fit into standing roles, okay? Technicians, field assistants, casuals, as you may choose to call them. At the end of the day, it's about making yourself, being able to absorb as much knowledge as possible. We have the internet available where you can grasp all form of knowledge that you require. Maybe to illustrate this further, we could use journal distribution, okay? So you have, then with a pyramid, you would have the printing press at the apex. You would have the wholesalers and retailers at the mid-level, and then you would have at the base, the hawkers who go from estate to estate, street to street, house to house, delivering these journals or dailies, okay, to the end readers. They all form part of that pyramid. And so it is with the renewable energy sector. Everybody has an opportunity there. Without everybody contributing their quota, we wouldn't be singing this chorus so much. Usually what people look at is like the promulgation of the aesthetics, okay, just the renewables, okay, maybe just the engineering aspect, just the financials. No, but there are people working behind the scene to ensure that whatever is put out there is up to the standard and what it should be. So everybody has a function to play or a role to play. Just make yourself readily available, make yourself a lifelong learner where you are able to absorb and then be ready so that when the opportunity avails itself, not only are you a candidate, but you are a best fit for the role.
So thank you so much for that, Shalom. I like that. There's a role for everyone in the industry. There's a role for everyone. I appreciate that. So Alice, I want to come back to you. Okay, so you spoke of the fact that you had a physics background, and then you also had a bit of help in form of mentorship. Now, coming to the issue of skills, both soft skills and what have you, what skills do you think are most important, for someone interested in pursuing a career in the renewable energy field? Now, I'm asking this question because several people on this platform, on this call now, they want to come into the field, right? But just like I've asked Shalom, I want to know, what do you think are some of the most important skills, for someone who is interested in pursuing a career?
All right, thank you very much for the question, Ayobami. For in the renewable energy space, there are diverse opportunities. Maybe I should mention those opportunities before I move on to the skills. If you recall, renewable energy is not just limited to solar energy. We have a lot of value chain along the industry. Take, for example, solar drying services for productive use in agriculture, whereby farmers their wares usually get spoiled can actually use the solar drying services for their for storing some of these products. We also have in the aspect of wind energy, we have the automobile. So I'll move on to the skills straight away. So in the renewable energy industry, number one skill I would say is project management skills. I have a background in physics, but I had to learn about management. I took a lot of courses online to learn about how to manage projects effectively. And also by doing this, to implement most of these skills, I also engage in, there's what is called peer-to-peer mentorship. I engage with some young professionals also in the industry to help me on this skill. And also another skill required is attention to details. For example, in the solar energy industry, if you do not know how to pay attention to details, it's very difficult. You make a lot of mistakes and you don't want the clients coming back to you that my system just failed. So paying attention to details, especially in sizing the right system, is very, very important. Also, sales and marketing skills is very important. Another skill that is very important also is research. You find that in the industry, a lot of technologies are coming up. For example, I really do not know much about the green hydrogen. I'm learning more about it now. It's one technology that is really new in the industry. So research skills is very important. So if you can own that skill, you can provide advisory services to some organizations that need that. And so for me, research skills, project management, sales and marketing skills, and also paying attention to details, interpersonal skills also is very, very important for individuals like consultants that want to get projects. It's very important to have most of these skills. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much, Alice, for that. So I just want to recognize the fact that people have already started sending their questions. Please send in more. We have questions from Aristotle, from Torisha, but then I want us to discuss this first before we move on to the audience question. So Shalom, over to you now. Alice has taken us through some of the skills that is needed in the renewable energy industry. The first one she mentioned project management, attention to details, peer-to-peer mentorship, things like that. So I want to know from you, in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see the renewable energy industry evolving, and how will it affect job prospects? Shalom, are you there?
Thank you once more. Yes.
Okay. Did you get my question?
Yes, I did get the question. I was trying to unmute myself. Okay. When Alice was speaking, she mentioned some other opportunities. I heard her mention sales and marketing. But well, let me start with the question. If you don't mind, would you take that again? Would you please take the question?
Okay, so my question is this. Yeah, my question is this. In the renewable energy space, Alice has mentioned that you need a project management skills. You also need sales and marketing skills, attention to details, things like that, for you to be attractive enough for a company. So I want to know from you, within the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see the renewable energy industry evolving? And then how will this affect job prospects?
Okay. Well, in the next 5 to 10 years, I foresee the renewable energy industry complementing the existing national grid. There's going to be much more facilities, solar, wind, biomass, because we are naturally endowed with such resources. And there wouldn't be so much dependency on the national grid. I foresee states forming alliances or policies, and then having platforms where they're able to generate power and make it more accessible and reliable to the masses, and in turn reducing the tariffs. Not only would that come to be, but it's going to be, in a nutshell, a decentralized infrastructure from the already existing infrastructure. Then, aside that, it's going to be in such a way that with the renewable energy industry, you know, being accepted, or with the population keying into much more aspects of renewables. I'm from the solar, so excuse me if I always have to go that direction. Okay, keying into let's say power through solar energy and perhaps equipment and all that. That there's going to be more marketing, software development. It's going to create everyone can partake. And whilst this is going on, not only would we be able to support in meeting some of the sustainable development goals, such as SDG 3, which has to do with health, good well-being and health, and then having that to do with affordable and GVEs. We are pioneers in the field. And then SDG 8, which has got to do with decent work and economic growth. So these are all opportunities that I foresee in the next 5 to 10 years. Basically, we are not going to be solely dependent on the national grid. We are going to be dependent on, you know, more dependent on the renewable energy sector, which will be supporting or acting as a complementary, or it will be basically complementing a complete grid.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sharon, for that. Before we move to the question from the audience, I'd like to ask you this final question. You are the HR lead at GVE. Okay, so I want to know, I'm sure that one or two people might be interested in working with your organization, you know, from this webinar. Now, for those kind of people, I want to hear from you. How does your organization support professional development, you know, and career growth for employees?
Okay, thanks again for the question. I would start with a brief history of GVE. So GVE was founded in 2009 by 3 young undergraduates during their days at the Federal University of Owerri, Puto. Over the years, their passion to provide energy to the unserved and underserved communities in Nigeria has kept the company going. As a company, we have also been recognized by the London Stock Exchange as one of the fastest growing private companies in sub-Saharan Africa. And as such, we have been able to meticulously build system all our force through reskilling and remember, I earlier mentioned that it's a sector that gives room for growth, and not just growth, but we are able to remodel. Okay, the sector enables you to remodel whatever your background is to fit into the industry. Having said that, in the company, GV Projects Limited, we do not take for granted performance evaluations. And one might wonder, why performance evaluations here? Employees or people in general are only steadfast in contributing their best to what is measured. And how do you entail, or how do you focus on these aspects? Okay, you set your KPIs, key performance indicators, and then you ensure that they are specific enough and you are able to measure them so that you are able to identify whatever skill gaps that the employees may not be able to deliver on. And by being able to identify these skill gaps, you share. That's where we come in to talk about feedback. You give feedback to your employees, and that enables them grow. Again, as a company, we have this flexible work structure. Flexibility in the sense that we give room for employees to be able to think out of the box and know, okay, what the latest are, to be able to test a form of flexibility, but it also promotes healthy work-life balance. We are also keen on development, training and developments that with the competency, okay, task. Whilst learning and development has to do with the personnel being able to evolve from a particular level of or stage of growth in terms of learning to a standard where he or she deems right. As a company, even to our contractual terms, we have a fund called the Career Development Fund, where each employee is allocated to that fund. Okay, how does this happen? On onboarding to the company, we are able to take you through, like explain into details whatever you need to progress in the system, and ensure that we track this your learning progress and support you with the fund that has been allotted to you. Okay, so there are several ways we manage this. Okay, in order not to waste time, we can just move to the fact that we have affinity at you as an employee to know that these things are expected time, but I mentioned, which has to do with customer excellence, integrity, innovativeness, and intrepidity, and finally collaboration. We have this saying where we say we are sick at what we do. Mind you, the sick is not an S, it's a C, which stands for customer excellence. We are sick at what we do, and without imbibing this aspect of our core values into the employees, of course, there wouldn't be so much zeal, to deliver the best form of service to our clients and to also enable them grow. I know that the question has to do with personal growth, but your core values also help in supporting or pushing whatever it is that would help your employees grow. Okay, so this is something that has been a driving force as a company. And then our statistics in measuring all this, we keep data, okay, to know that, okay, at this point, this has happened. At this point, this is what has to happen. So we are able to fill up all gaps that may have been identified in the company. As such, all personnel know what their expectations are. We also know what we expect from them. In a nutshell, I would say that one can't expect to squeeze blood from a turpine. Is that possible? No. It's similar to how we would say even the most beautiful girl can't give what she hasn't got. So you give what you have in terms of the knowledge, the skills you have acquired, and that only comes through training and development. And that's why, as a company, we ensure that our performance evaluations are kept to standard. We do not joke with it. Training and development, as much as learning and development, is very important. Work flexibility and then having affinity with major stakeholders and industry. All this form part of what puts us out there, you know, as pioneers in the industry in Nigeria. Thank you.
Wow. So thank you so much, Shalom. I think I'm interested in working with DBA. So I'm sending you my CV after this.
Of course, why not?
Okay. Okay, so back to you, Alice. Are you there, Alice?
Yes, please, I'm here.
Okay, now, so finally to you now, before we go to the other question, we have about 6 questions from the audience already as of now. So I want to know from you, if there's anyone, you know, people are interested in coming to the renewable energy field, right? So what advice would you share with them, you know, for anyone who wants to make a real impact in this area?
Okay, I'll take it one point at a time. For anyone that wants to go into the industry, number one is passion. When I started, it was a bit slow. You have to have passion for the industry and set out your career plan. What do you really want to achieve? So that's one thing. So you crave a niche for yourself. For example, those that want to get into the industry, it is very important to research a lot about the aspects of renewable energy you want to go into. Currently, I'm working on an hydropower project, and you have to make enough research. And also the issue of mentorship, it can never be overemphasized. I grew in this industry because of mentorship. I have a number of industry leaders that I speak to, and they hold my hands, and it's very, very important. And also studying, you can never, like Sharon said, you can never go wrong in education. Like study, we have a number of courses online. You look at Coursera, Schneider Online University, Coursera, a number of them. So you can learn as much as possible from this online platform. Although we find training institutions in the industry, for example, I know of NextGen, I know of Steven. So a number of these industry rights place. So it's very, very important for anyone that wants to go into the is that you should can reach out to some of these industry leaders on LinkedIn, and they'll hold your hand. So it's very, very important. One thing that also is the aspect of volunteering. Happen to volunteer for the Nations Environmental Program under the Eco-Based Adaptation for Food Security Assembly, under the leadership of Dr. Richard Munak, the current climate change regional coordinator for Africa. So it's important to volunteer. You can, like GB, for example, they're actually doing a lot in the industry. I happened to visit one of their mini grids in Niger State, and you can volunteer for some of these companies, 3 months, 6 months. With that, it's very easy to get some of these skills and move quickly. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Alice. I was actually jotting down. It got to the point where it's interesting, and then you cut it short. I like the last point you made mention, which is the fact of volunteering. You know, 3 months, 6 months, and then that skill you really need, you get it. You know, so thank you so much for that, Alice. And thank you so much for that. Also, Shalom, to both the panelists and also some of our experts, professionals on the call too. So, if it's possible, as much as possible, anyone, please, you can share your video now. So let's Let's see. I see that Mr. Afolabi Akinrogunde is raising up his hand. But before you take your question, sir, I'd like to ask this question from Aristotle. The question is this. He asked, are there remote job opportunities in the renewable energy industry? I think this question is very important because the world now everyone is talking about remote work, right? So is there something like that for the renewable energy industry? So the question is open both to the panelists, to Dr. Ozodima, to everybody.
Okay. I think I can talk about that. My name is Afolabi Akinrogunde. It's a pleasure to be here. Currently serve as the investment manager at Allon Partnerships for Energy Access, a premier investor in the energy access space. We've deployed about $20 million of our own funding into companies on this space. I currently sit on the board of GVE, so it's a pleasure to see the HR lead at GVE on the call here today. Also a pleasure to see younger people who are also interested in participating in the renewable energy space, because that is the future of energy across the world entirely. So again, it's a pleasure to be here. With regards to whether you can play in the ecosystem, I can assure you that no matter your skill set, whether you are a graduate of English or psychology or engineering, there is a space for you within the renewable energy space, whether it is within HR, whether it is within customer service, whether it is within sales, whether it is within engineering and operations, project development, there is a space for you within the ecosystem. Having invested across the entire ecosystem, from C&I companies to solar home system companies to mini grid system companies to battery as a service companies, it's clear to me that there is a need for capacity within the ecosystem, both at every level. Right from the assistant level, people just are supporting on the project, right up to the capacity. We need a lot of CEOs, we need a lot of people that have the skill set required to move many of the companies operating at $1-2 million of revenue to become $100 million, $50 million revenue company. So there is a lot of space in the ecosystem. As you know, within the next 5 years, a lot is going to change. Like the question which you asked earlier, a lot is going to change. Batteries are going to become a lot cheaper. The parity between renewable energy and the current forms of energy which we have is going to get a lot thinner. Renewable energy is going to become a lot more competitive. So you will have pretty much what you have with your Better Pass my neighbor equivalent in renewable energy solutions, right up there to the top to serving skyscraper country like Back is going to be available for everywhere in this country. And as you see, and once that occurs, there are going to be jobs created across the line, right from people who are selling these products, down to people who are doing sales, down to people who are analysts, because we create renewable energy companies. If you are, for example, if you are operating one of the solar home system companies, you are not just a solar home system company, you are actually a company that is also a financing company. Many of these companies actually have to give loans to their end users to actually take on board this product, because if you are somebody who is earning 50K a month, buying a product of $100,000 naira is a lot of expense. So they have to finance it. How do you do the credit analysis for that? How do you get the data? Because these systems also have GIS usage data, payment data embedded in them. How do you analyze that data? So we are going to need IT experts. IT experts can work from home. We're going to need customer service people. Customer service people can work from home. We're going to need people who can sell products virtually, who can make calls and do lead generation. That can be done from home. So pretty much everything you need. Of course, at the end of the day, you will need people actually on the field, building those mini grids, operating those mini grids, making those connections happen on the ground. Edgy like fintech that you can do across the air. You will need people actually doing that physical work. But no matter where you are in the ecosystem, there is a space for you. The ecosystem is going to move from being on the fringes, barely 1-2% of the economy, to become double digits in the next 5-6 years. And whatever you need to do to get on that train, I admonish you to just get on board. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Falabi. I really appreciate this. So I want to know if Mr. Ali, is this still on the call? Mr. Ali, are you still there?
Yeah, but I want to, you called me and I want to say something.
Okay, yes. Okay, doctor.
Well, let me again welcome everyone. The RE sector is that virgin land some of us did not identify early enough. And for those who are younger now, it is a very great, productive, and profitable career path. In anything you think you do with energy, consider the value of our current electricity supply system, what we call NEPA or PSCN. The RE sector is in a position to displace it in the next few years substantially, especially in Nigeria, where we will be advocating for more mini grids, more standalone grids. The good thing about renewable energy is that you don't need a whole community to provide service. You can provide a service to a shop, you can provide service to a home, you can provide service to a small family. They are all businesses. So this is very important. I urge the next generations to please do well to acquire the skills that are required. Incidentally, it is a place where everybody now can get involved. Once you have a modicum of knowledge to learn and work, you can get involved in it. And the space is endless, locally and internationally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ozadiba. I really appreciate your insightful comments. Mr. Ali, are you still on the call? So, okay, so because there's a question directed to Mr. Ali, but if he's not on the call, I could just throw it open. So the question is the Rural Electrification Agency just focused on solar energy? So that was the question for him. If there's anyone that can answer that on his behalf. But let's just go ahead. Another question from Mr. Aristotle is what certifications are available? I think Shalom already answered that question. I think Shalom already answered that question for us. So if there are any other questions, kindly drop in the comment section. Any opportunities for the sector in the sector, any of the panelists will also answer that. Shalom, is this something you answer? Do you have internship opportunities at GV?
Okay, hi. Of course, there are always internship opportunities. At GV, of course, we do have internship opportunities, and they differ. So could always reach out to us through our email. I'll drop it in the chat box. I'll send it to Ayobami to share with you. However, when Alice was giving her presentation and she was talking about mentorship, you should be able to reach out, okay? You don't sit and then it drops just on your table. Reach out to people. You want internship opportunities, write to companies. Sometimes it's not like there are immediate vacancies, but one sees your profile and then there is an upcoming project and says, okay, let's have this person on board this project. That's how it works. Okay, don't just sit and expect it to come. There is LinkedIn. There are several platforms, okay, where you can always link up with people and then reach out to them, share your dreams in terms of careers with them, and you would get to an extent support from this set of people. So of course, yes, there are opportunities. I'll share the email with you. First, you can start by visiting our website, www.gv-group.com, and start from there.
All right, thank you so much for that, for the help. I believe the audience have gotten that down. So there's also another question. I didn't get that question well. I forgot who asked that question. The person said the European Union is now pushing renewable energy in Nigeria. I'm not sure if I got the question correctly. So what exactly, can you use the mic, please? What exactly do you mean? Like you said, the EU is pushing renewable energy in Nigeria. Are you saying that this is not what's supposed to be? What exactly is your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
The question is, in fact, from the way I put it in the chat box, like when oil was discovered in Nigeria, nobody thought about oil spillage and the flaring and the climate change due to all this oil spillage and the rest. So now we're moving towards renewable energy, and the solar energy is the top of it, and nobody's thinking about disposal. In the next 25 years, a lot of all these panels being brought into the country will be disposed, and the batteries as well will equally be disposed. And nobody's talking about what's going to happen then, because what's pushing the effect of due to greenhouse gases by oil activities. And now we are going into another thing, and nobody's thinking of what's going to happen next. The next 25 years, when the lifespan of the solar panel exposing them, embracing the renewable energy with open arms now. Nobody's thinking about the next 25 years, the next 30 years for going to happen. Another thing, the whole renewable energy thing is really championed by the European Union, and they equally are the ones, the chance that as the predominant renewable energy. So that's the ones producing the panels, the batteries, the inverters, the charge controllers, and virtually everything. We import virtually everything. And the same thing happened during the oil era. We imported virtually everything and the expertise and everything. So how do we move from that point to a point where we in Nigeria, we in Africans, we develop this, we design this thing, we develop it ourselves, and we use it here, instead of this perpetual importing of equipment from and enriching them over there? How do we start enriching ourselves?
Yeah, I think you get your question now.
I think I can comment on that, really, because
okay. Thank you.
In my role before being seconded to Olon, I spent pretty much 15 years in Shell, so I understand both the oil and gas industry and the renewable energy industry, and it's clear really that as a country, as Nigeria, and I think that is also what the federal government is also touting, there is no country in the world that can go 100% into renewable now. It's going to be a journey. But there are two things which are happening. Number one, you're going to have to decide how you manage that balance between the current industry and the renewable energy, number one. And then number two, you also have to find a way to also manage a world where demand for energy is increasing. If demand for electricity is increasing, if you have everybody move, for example, from fossil fuel cars into EV cars, then you find a situation where, for example, how do you generate that extra 50% of electricity that will be going into EV cars? So you have two things. You have to balance you as a country, and that is something which I believe the federal government has also communicated at all of the forums. It's the UN. It's what many other countries are also doing now, and also with what has happened, that because our energy poverty in Nigeria is so high, with the average Nigerian consuming barely 1/5 of what the average, barely 1/5 per capita consumption of energy. It's still a drop in the bucket. It's still a drop in the bucket. We are so far to go. Our population has doubled in my lifetime alone. Energy production has not. So there is a need for us to really, really begin to see what can we do. What can we do to meet such that for the next 20, 30 years, we still have this oil, the benefit from it, that as a country, you move on, you pivot to where the entire world is going. It is not an either-or situation. You have to do the two at the same time. You have for gas work for you in generating electricity. You have to get the maximum production and revenue from your oil. so that in 30, 40, 50 years time, if the world says they don't need so as much of it as they used to, you will be satisfied in your mind as a country that you've done your own bit. You made hay while the sun shined. And one thing we are also doing at Holland, for example, I also sit on the board of Oxano Solar Limited company, premier solar panel assembly company in Nigeria. So Oxano assembles solar panels today in Nigeria. Before the end of this quarter, they're going to basically commission a new plant, which is going to double their own capacity in Nigeria today. So we need to take baby steps, both as investors, both as users, and even as a country, because Nigeria today needs to define this administration has done its own bit. Like I said, I don't agree with everything this administration has done, but in terms of the off-grid space in Nigeria, in terms of the renewable energy space in Nigeria, it has done a great deal. With the NERC, with the REA, it has done a great deal in that regard. I can't take that away from them. But we need to sit down and say, what are the next steps? How do we begin to domesticate part of the ecosystem of the solar in Nigeria? How do we begin to think of what will happen in 15, 20 years time when the batteries we are using now begin to go begin to go out of when the batteries and panels really, which we are using now, begin to expire? What do we need to have a strategy for as a country, so that once we implement these strategies, we will do number one, 100% on China and Turkey, and number two, we will create the jobs that we need for our own economy. So most of these things we can do what we can as individuals, as investors in the ecosystem. We do not. It is not an either. You can do oil and gas. You can do renewable. I can never get to. Green power can never doesn't make money. It will $100 for each connection to get to some parts of the country. Why not give them a solar home system? Why not put in place a battery as a solution in those places? So you need to have a model that what you need to do to pivot to where they're into. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Afolabi. I hope the person that asked the question is clear now. So, Mr. Clement, I think that your hand is raised up. I think that will be our final question. Okay. If you don't have any other one.
Okay, thank you so much for granting me audience. It's not actually a question, but to throw more light to what Mr. Okay, Clement, some of the questions raised valid concerns about the end of life of some of this equipment. And then I begin to ask, where are our industrial chemistry? Those that study industrial chemistry, I believe this is an opportunity for them to start thinking of what they do with our batteries when they fail. And so the question, the batteries and respond what happens to the electronics at the end of life. I love what Oxano is doing. Can we invest more in, rather than assembling the panel, what are the limitations to even having the cells built within Nigeria? And this creates more job for the vast majority, and then open up more opportunities to many other fields, rather not limiting it to only the engineers or the create more room for everybody. And I believe the point raised by all here all valid, and we would cheapen our mindset in the modern minds to see how we can fit into the
Mr. Clement. And with that, we wrap up. So I want to thank you so much for everyone that has been a part of this. I want to thank you so much for in the last 1 hour 30 minutes. I believe now in the renewable energy, and also what is expected of us as prospective employees, in the industry. Some of our panelists mentioned the fact that you need some skills, attention to details, things like that. And then Shalom also mentioned the fact that don't just wait for the opportunity to come. Reach out to people. So one of the things that I'm going to do immediately after this call is that I'm going to drop some people's LinkedIn profile to you, so you can follow them on LinkedIn. Mr. Afolabi Akinrobude is a big champion of of renewable energy in Nigeria and on LinkedIn. So I'm going to also be sharing his profile with the participants. So if you're here, Shalom Shebrah from GVE. I want to also thank Alice Adedayo. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I also want to thank the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Association Alliance. They made this possible. We really want to thank you for this platform. Thank you, Mrs. Kemi Oyelola, Onena, and Dr. Ozodima, and others I'm not able to mention here. So another thing is that someone dropped a comment, that's from the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. So for internship opportunities, so I'm also going to share that email with people on the WhatsApp group, so you can reach out to them if there are internship opportunities, and then if it's available, then they can reach out to you also. So once again, I want to thank you so much for this. And once again, my name is Aibami Adedini, and I'm founder of Energy Intelligence. What we do at Energy Intelligence is to lead the sustainable energy conversation in Africa. So we do this through a platform like this, online events. We also do this through research. We do market entry research also. Then another thing we also do is to do YouTube live series, all geared towards making sure that the sustainable energy conversation in Nigeria in particular, keeps going, so that we can all find ourselves in a sustainable energy future. So with that, I say thank you, and have a bright day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. That's an excellent
So in
presentation.
the next 3 minutes, you could just So in the next 3 minutes, you could just network, share things, and all.
We still love to have the email contact of Madam Shalom.
I didn't get that.
The email contact of Shalom Shebrah.
Yes, I will. Are you on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, as well as that of Adedayo as well, please.
Definitely, I'll do that.
It's really excited. Thank you, and Abby, for filling their head. You guys make my day. Thank you.
So
much. Thank you too. So by 12 o'clock we had the call, and then, but for now we can just drop whatever comment you want to drop, network with people, follow them.
Hi guys, my name is Christopher.
So we'll drop the link to the WhatsApp group on the chat. You can just follow it. You'll find yourself on the WhatsApp group. We'll be sharing opportunities on the renewable energy sector there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cornetto. I really
It's
the wonderful one.
More importantly, I also want to thank my team, Folu and Olabisi, for being a strong support for this.
I
didn't
thank
forget.
you.